One business, 4 hours a day, and $100,000 a month in profits. It's no employees glued to Zoom calls, no endless Slack pings, no burnout, just a streamlined business that actually runs like a machine, while I focus actually on what matters, which is leverage, quality, and peace. Now in this video, I'll actually break down the exact 6-part system I used to get there and how you can use it too, even if you're starting from scratch. A lot of people chase the 100K a month, like it's the finish line, but most who actually hit it are secretly miserable. They're buried in the client calls, like me here on this photo. They're basically managing like bloated teams with tons of like messages, and they're duct taping operations that fall apart when they actually unplug, which leads to burnout. I was that guy, as you can see here in this picture, until I stripped it all back and rebuilt around one question: how do I make 100K a month in profit without actually hiring a huge team or working 60-hour weeks, and a streamlined business that runs like a machine and enjoying life? And it turns out that there's actually a formula, not just for the money, but for the time, freedom, and longevity of your business that basically allows peace, quality, leverage, and a streamlined business with this 6-part system. Even if you're starting again from scratch, like me right here in 2021. Now, step 1 is you want to nail the offer to one person, right? So you want to basically identify your ideal client. So forget like having like 10 service lines. You basically one clear offer, solving one urgent problem for one ideal client. So for example, I help agency owners and consultants install systems so they can scale without becoming the system themselves. Every process, every funnel, every touch point revolves around that single outcome. Now think of your offer like an apple pie, right? If every video, message, or product slice is apple, the buyer knows exactly what they're getting and they want more, which basically brings us to step 2, right? Which is simplifying your funnel. Here's my funnel. We basically have someone like you that watches a video like this. You click the link in the description, you book a call, right? Like a free call. You talk to my team, we qualify you, and you either get invited or you don't. That's it. No webinars, no complex automation, just a clear path from attention to conversion. Super simple. Now, I also use some things like draft track, of course, to see how long viewers watch before buying. Most convert in weeks, not in months, because the channel, the content, and the offer all align, right? That's something that we've battle basically tested over time right here. This brings us into step 3, which is create leverage with asynchronic delivery. So my business kind of runs on like a done with you model. And I've always had this. I started with done for you when I didn't have any client results. And basically what this gets is a structured onboarding path, right? Because it's super easy to onboard a lot of clients. We basically have pre-recorded trainings that takes them through most of the onboarding process before they even jump on a call. Live weekly support just to make sure we hold them accountable, and SOPs and systems to plug into their team, right? That they can just copy paste, because we know exactly what our client type is. We know exactly what their problem is, and we can just copy paste this for every client. Now, my client success manager actually handles 90% of the touch points, but automated. My time, just about a couple hours a day, split between like client review, some content creation, and just high leverage decision making tasks. And most of those tasks basically come into content, right? So here's like a little sprint that we've had. Now, when I rebuilt my business, I posted a video for about 30 days straight, and I just used to record a bunch of content just to get into the habit of recording. I basically tested doing deep dives, that's the calls, founder breakdowns, but also like lifestyle, business hybrids, and just raw talking heads. And I tracked everything: what brought in the leads, what converted, and what made people say like, hey, I need this. And based on that, I could always refine my strategy and basically have winning formats that became staples. And the rest, I just simply cut it and I just step and repeat and just go into this cycle. If you want a consistent income, like you have to be willing to repeat yourself. Say the same core thing, just better, louder, and clearer. If you have a winning concept, for example, with a YouTube video, just keep focusing on that subject. That's mainly it. It's something that we've seen, not just with content, but also our own business. And that basically comes into monetizing every single touch point, which is a very important key. Now, if someone finds me on YouTube, let's say, right? Like I don't wait for them to DM me on, let's say, like day 90. I nudge them immediately. We basically have like a call to action in the intro. We have a link in the description, and we have an email capture above the fold, right? Whenever they book a call as well. And also on the thank you page, we may sometimes have an application funnel, which turns into a converted lead. Now, whatever they're a cold viewer or binge watching veteran, there's always a path for them for every stage in the process, which should allow your business to basically start selling for you. Now, here's the real test. Could I disappear for a week and still make money and have a growing business? Then yes. Or if it's yes, that's because my team or your team is small but trained, my systems are documented, and my content brings a new lead, and my sales process doesn't need me, which is an independent model, right? It doesn't need owner's presence. That's the kind of business that you want. If it's not the case, you're on a dependent model. It requires constant owner involvement, and that's just not good. You want to stay on the independent model so you can actually stay sharp, diverse, and also focus on other passions that you might have without getting business autism. It's actually a term that we're using in our house a lot. It's like whenever someone is in monk mode, for example, sometimes they forget how to interact with other people too well. It's honestly a real thing. We've seen it. You may have seen it yourself if you have run a business or you have a bunch of friends that run online businesses and they just get stuck in the grind, right? So you can focus on your passions. For me, it's like DJing a lot. Here we did in Colombia. We had a DJ gig here on the beach at a beautiful 5-star resort. Another one here in a super sick club in Medellin. And here we went to Dubai with all of our friends to finish like a tax residency that we had here. If you feel basically stuck and doing everything yourself, drowning the delivery rules, or just sick of being the bottleneck, you don't need another tactic. You just simply need a system. Click the link down below, book a call, and I'll basically walk you through how we can build yours in 30 days or less. One business, 4 hours a day, 100K a month in profit. Let's get you there. Welcome to the exit operator era.